Darjeeling Limited. The Darjeeling Limited was released in 2007 and is directed by Wes Anderson. Yes, this is my first of many Wes Anderson film reviews on this channel. I've been watching quite a few of his films over the past couple of months, and I'm really starting to get into his style of filmmaking. I'm really starting to get into his films. So I thought, hey, why not review some of his films on this channel? So here we are with my first of many Wes Anderson film reviews on this channel with the Darjeeling Limited. But anyway, basically the Darjeeling Limited, like I said, was released in 2007 and is directed by Wes Anderson and stars Owen Wilson, Adrien Brody, Jason Schwartzmen, with supporting roles from Natalie Portman, Bill Murray, and Anjelica Huston. And basically, the film tells the story of three brothers, and these three brothers are played by Owen Wilson, Adrien Brody, and Jason Schwartzmen in the film. And basically, these three brothers have lost their way in life. They've lost, and at the same time, they've lost connection with each other. And so Owen Wilson, who plays one of the brothers in the film, he calls all three brothers to India to help find themselves individually and help reconnect with one another. Also, at the same time, though, as the film progresses, we also learn that the father of these three brothers has recently died, and that the mother of these three brothers, played by Anjelica Huston in the film, is actually in India herself. So the three brothers, as well as they're trying to find themselves, they're also trying to find their mother in the film. Also, at the same time, though, you do also learn interesting storylines and interesting secrets about each brother throughout the film. For example, the character that Owen Wilson plays, he shows up and he's got bandages all over his face, and you learn why. And then Adrien Brody's character, his girlfriend is pregnant and he doesn't know how to deal with it. And at the same time, you know, Jason Schwartzman's character, he's writing a book throughout the course of the film, and the book that he's writing sounds very similar to real life, but he keeps saying it's fiction. But anyway, basically, you see their journey go throughout the film, and yes, you might be sitting there maybe going to yourself, oh, is this one of those, you know, travel films, one of those films where, you know, it's a road trip film almost like, where you watch, you know, somebody go on a road trip and they'll go to a different country and they'll find themselves in that country. Yes, it is one of those films in a way, but at the same time, it's not. It's a Wes Anderson film. If you've seen a Wes Anderson film like, I don't know, The Grand Budapest Hotel, or Fantastic Mr. Fox, or Moonrise Kingdom, or The Royal Tenenbaums, you'll know what I mean by that. It's quite two-dimensional, it's quite wacky, it's quite postmodern, and it doesn't really feel like one of those road trip films, if you will. It feels like a Wes Anderson film in the best way possible. At the same time, the film does have small roles from people like Bill Murray, who show up at the start of the film, and then another stage in the film, not to give too much away, but he shows up at two stages in the film, which I really liked when he showed up. But at the same time, though, Natalie Portman also has a role to play in the film, which I'm going to talk about a bit later in this video. But anyway, basically, that's the plot of the film. Three brothers who have lost their way in life go to India to go and reconnect to each other and to go and find their mother. And you know what? I absolutely love this film. I actually really do. And I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, don't get me wrong, the film has some really strong things about it. For example, look at the cinematography of the film and the way it's shot. But the thing is with Wes Anderson films, he always uses films in a peculiar way. There's always like two-dimensional, almost like the film itself is a cartoon. Even if it's, you know, a live-action film, it'll be like a cartoon. Like, don't get me wrong, Wes Anderson has also directed cartoon films like Fantastic Mr. Fox and, you know, I Was a Dog. But he's also directed quite a lot of live-action films. Films like, you know, Moonrise Kingdom, Grand Budapest Hotel. And, you know, this film is like that. You know, the Darjeeling Limited is like that. You do have like live action moments in the film which almost look cartoon like, you know, quite postmodern. But you know what? That all works for me in this film. I didn't mind that. There's actually a lot of scenes in the film which I think wouldn't have worked so well if it wasn't from Wes Anderson directing, if you get what I mean. If this film wasn't directed by Wes Anderson, I don't think I'd like it as much, which is what I'm trying to say. But at the same time, though, the film also has some beautiful shots, in my opinion. Shots that if you could literally pause and go, okay, that looks like a painting. Honestly, some of the shots and some of the cinematography in the film is quite simply beautiful and fantastic. It really is. It just has some fantastic cinematography in the film. And at the same time, though, the film also has some really enjoyable performances, like Owen Wilson. I'm not really a fan of Owen Wilson. I mean, I've seen him in a couple of films I don't really like, but I actually really like his performances in Wes Anderson films. But I really like what he brings to a Wes Anderson film, and he's great in the film. He's really funny at some stages. Adrien Brody's great in the film, and we like the storyline with his character. You know, this whole thing with his girlfriend getting pregnant, he doesn't know how to deal with it. And at the same time, though, I also like Jason Schwartzman in the film. He plays quite a funny character. And at the same time, though, I was like Bill Murray when he shows up at the start of the film. He's in the opening scene of the film, and he shows up a bit later on, and he was funny in the film. Bill Murray's in almost all the Wes Anderson films, I think. I think apart from Wes Anderson's first film, I think Bill Murray's in all of his films. But anyway, basically, at the same time, though, Anjelica Huston's great in the film. She's only in it for a short amount of time. She's in a really poignant scene in the film. But when she does show up, she's great in the film. She steals the show, in my opinion. But at the same time, though, with all the film being fantastically made and the cinematography being fantastic and the performances are great, the film also has a really fantastic soundtrack, which I think is really underrated. For example, I mean, just the soundtrack alone is incredible, because actually you have all this Indian music in the soundtrack, you know, this Indian satamis, which I'm not really a fan of, but at the same time, though, the music actually makes you feel like you're watching a film take place in India, which is really unique. Like, I can't tell you how many films I've watched over the past 10 years where take place in a different country, but the music will still be quite contemporary and rock-like. The thing is, the soundtrack itself in this film actually has quite a lot of sitar music, which makes you feel like you're watching the film take place in India. Whilst, at the same time, though, you also have this contemporary contemporary rock songs from like the Kinks or, you know, the Rolling Stones, songs which I love, and then they're used so well in the film. Like, you'll get a scene where literally the film will use slow motion, and these are my favourite scenes in the film, where the scenes will literally use slow motion and the Kinks song will play, and you'll be like, This Time Tomorrow, then it'll be Strangers, which Strangers is one of my all-time favourite songs anyway, and then you get Power Man by the Kinks as well. And you get scenes where the film will literally just go into slow motion, and a Kinks song will be played, and it's great in the film. Whereas at the same time, there's also a fantastic scene where the Rolling Stones song, what is it, Playing with Fire, is used, which is really, really good in the film, and I'm a huge fan of the soundtrack for the film, a huge fan of the soundtrack, and it is just a fantastic film in the end. But the thing is though, I'm not entirely sure why I love it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I spoke very highly and I praised the film for a lot of reasons, but at the same time, those reasons would normally just say, okay, I really like the film. Instead, I love this film. I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, it's really enjoyable to watch, and it's one of those films which always keeps drawing me back to it. I don't know why it does, and I'm always fascinated with this film, and at the same time I always really enjoy it. And it is one of those films which does have really enjoyable moments, really funny moments, but at the same time though, it also has really emotional moments. One moment in particular which comes to mind, to do with Irfan Khan in the film. I forgot to mention Irfan Khan, who gives off such an emotional performance in one of the scenes in the film. He is absolutely fantastic, Irfan Khan, in the film, honestly. I don't think he has a line of dialogue in the film actually, but there's one scene in particular with him where it's so emotional, and I actually like characters that don't have that much dialogue surrounding them, and Irfan Khan does it in the film, and he gives us such an emotional performance in one of the scenes in particular. And at the same time, the film also has an emotional moment to do with three boys at one stage who are on this raft in a lake, and if they fall off the raft they're going to die. There's a really emotional scene there at the same time. And yes, the film does have emotional moments, particularly when Strangers by the Kinks who played in the film, which was using such an emotionally impactful scene, but at the same time, the film is enjoyable, and it is one of those films, like a road trip film if you will, where, you know, characters will go and find themselves in a different country, but in the end, it's also a Wes Anderson film, and that's why I like it so much. You know, it's post-modern, it's a bit silly the way it's shot. The thing with Wes Anderson films, it's almost like, you know, the camera knows where the story's going before the actual characters. That's how I would think of it. I really like that in this film. And all, I love the Darjeeling Limited, and I'm not sure why I do, but I'm so happy that I do. It's not for everyone. I can see why some people might take a bit of a dislike into this film. I can see why some people might think of highly of this film as I do. Some people might just watch it and think it's alright. Personally, I love it, and I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, I think it's beautifully shot, I think the performances are great, and I really like the soundtrack of the film. And so for that reason, I'm going to say that the Darjeeling Limited is a 9 out of 10 from me. Now, side note here, I watched this film on DVD, and on DVD you have an option to watch a short film called, Hotel Chevalier, just before you watch the full-length feature film of the Darjeeling Limited. I recommend you watch Hotel Chevalier. Hotel Chevalier, there is just a short film starring Jason Schwartzmen and Natalie Portman. It plays for significance to the rest of the film. I do recommend you watch the short film before, and it's a good short film. I actually really like the short film. It provides some context for things later in the film, particularly when Jason Schwartzman's writing his book and everything. It plays with some significance and some comedy and some context for later on in the film. So if you do get the Darjeeling Limited on DVD, I recommend you watch the short film Hotel Chevalier beforehand, because it does provide some context to the rest of the film. But anyway, going back to the full-length feature film at hand of the Darjeeling Limited, I absolutely love this film. It's not for everyone. I can see why some people might dislike it, and I can see why some people might not love it as much as I do. But I just love this film. Not entirely sure why, but I do. And so for that reason, I'm going to say that the Darjeeling Limited is a 9 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, what do you think of the Darjeeling Limited? Do you love it, do you hate it, or have you just not watched it? And if not, why not? Please do comment down below and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching, and if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like and subscribe on this video, and look forward to many more, both film and TVs, coming very, very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now, bye!